It's now my pleasure to ask our middle school presenters from Rogers Park Middle School in Danbury to get their presentation ready to go with their principal, Dr. Christy Zaletta, who will bring on her team in order to share with us the good work that's happening in Rogers Park in Danbury. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm really honored to be able to speak today. Thank you so much for allowing us to do so. I'm principal at Rogers Park Middle School, as Bill said. I'm one of 3 amazing middle schools here in Danbury. I'm really proud to be a part of that team. Thanks, Rosie, for that shout out. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the second Harbor Me Book Club Student Exchange here at Rogers Park with our new friends from Scotts Ridge Middle School. And I'm here this morning, excuse me, with a team of colleagues to speak to you about our first year implementing Project Adventure through PE class in collaboration with our PPS staff. So while I worked with Dana and our other assistant principal, Jessica, to plan this with input from our PE department head, the educators on this panel have actually been doing all the hard work. So at this time, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves.
My name is Dana Perez. I'm one of the assistant principals at Rogers Park Middle School. I'm waving. I unfortunately can't turn on my camera, but hi, everybody.
Hi, I am Dana Williams. Same, I can't turn my camera on, but I am one of the physical education teachers at Rogers Park Middle School.
Good morning. My name is Justin Fosher. I'm in the same situation with the cameras, but I am one of the PE teachers at Rogers Park Middle School as well.
Good morning. My name is Dante Curry. I am also one of the PE teachers at Rogers Park Middle School, and I'm having the same issue. I can't turn on my camera.
I am Tom Farrell. I'm one of the counselors here at Rogers Park, and I just got rights to turn on my camera.
Hi, I'm Karina Chelso. I'm one of the school social workers here at Rogers Park, and I can't turn my camera on either. There you go.
Thanks, everyone. Like all other educators in schools across the nation, we've been doing our best to address the great social emotional needs of our students as they return to full day in-person learning this year. As we all know, SEL isn't something else. It's really embedded in all that we do. At Rogers Park, we strive to provide experiences and opportunities for all of our students to meet with success and to continuously improve upon themselves so that they can become the best versions of themselves. As a school community, we've been working for a couple of years now to become more restorative and to become culturally responsive. We've engaged in professional learning around restorative practices and have been putting together professional learning plans, which were disrupted by the pandemic, but that we jumped back into and are now actively learning together through a faculty book study on culturally responsive teaching in the brain by Zaretta Hammond. When we take a look at who we are as a school community, we are really proud of our diversity and the students that we engage with each and every day. We have around 1,100, not 1,000, students that represent many different countries of origin, different language that are spoken in our school. And so sorry, it's really messing up here. And we work together to try to bring all of them together so that they can interact in an appropriate manner with one another and learn how to deal with the ups and downs of being in middle school. As everyone knows, middle school is a crazy time. None of us would go back to it if we had to. And with the pandemic, we've really seen this super rise in students' impulsivity, excuse me, and inability really to have the skill set to deal with conflict and make good choices moving forward. So I'm going to turn it over to the team of educators that have been really the practitioners of this endeavor to describe why we chose to go into this direction, what it is, and how it's going. So Tom?
Hi. So I'm one of the counselors here, and I think for us, just looking at why we decided to engage in this kind of learning, I think the biggest thing that really stands out to me on this page is authenticity. Kids really crave that authentic interaction now. The pandemic took a lot of, as Dr. Zla said, the impulsivity, the coping skills, the ability to handle these conflicts when they arise has just not been there. The mask covered up some of that, and we've struggled really getting back into it. So this is a response to some of the trauma. We had students who were caretakers for baby brothers and sisters. We had students dealing with issues in the home. So this is a response for us to give them that authentic social emotional opportunity to help build up that self-esteem again, to give them that ability to trust in themselves, and to create independent learners. I think that's been one of the biggest things, is wanting to move these students away from that dependency of having to always have someone else do something for them. Because as we move forward, as they continue to move through middle school into high school, their accountability goes up, their responsibility goes up. So this program has really helped with some of that. It also has really helped develop leadership skills. Some of our students who have a lot of discipline referrals, who have struggled really reintegrating into the school community and the climate, have turned out to be some of our best participators, our strongest participants, and some of the best leadership as well in those opportunities. So we're going to go to the next slide. So what is adventure-based learning? To put it super simply, it's the use of games, structured activities. Usually we phrase it as like a challenge to them. And it's going to involve them trusting each other, problem solving together. They're going to have to take a risk with each other. And I think as we talk about kind of the flow of the program, you'll see that early on, we do a lot of relationship building. We do a lot of learning about each other and being authentic with each other, because it's really hard for students to engage with us if they just feel like we're just there as a job. This is our world right now, and we want to show them that we're involved in their world. It's also going to give them those critical thinking skills to be able to attack problems in a different way. As we know, there are different pathways to the same goal. So not every single way that we take is always going to be the right way. We're going to have to pivot. We're going to have to change our thought process at times. And what we've seen so far with our Project Adventure Learning is that we've been giving them that opportunity to work with each other. So we'll talk about a little bit of the nuts and bolts next of how we kind of structured the program and how we grouped it. So to make sure that we really had an intensive focus, we decided to focus on just our 7th grade. Usually you want around 10 to 12 students. So a lot of us will split into 2 groups. So we co-teach it. So a counselor, social worker, our school climate specialist, we will team up with a PE teacher. And generally we like to break into 2 groups and start to work on some of the challenge for that day. And we usually try to meet about twice a month during the PE class. One of our groups is early in the morning, and then our other group is generally early in the afternoon. But again, that's kind of how we structured it. And then the flow throughout the program, those first 2 introductions and learning about the group, I've already spoken about that a little bit, but that authenticity, getting them invested in each other, not just us investing in them, but wanting them to invest in their classmates. It was amazing to me when we first started how many kids in their own class didn't know each other's names and didn't know, who had a pet, who came from where. So getting them to have those conversations and giving them a space to have those conversations, I think was super valuable, because as you move through the program, the challenges are meant to be harder and they're meant to require more teamwork, more maybe changing of roles, different things like that. So it's really important early on that you put in that time of learning about each other, and past just simple names. Again, about who they are as a person. We also establish norms with each group. Ms. Williams, one of our PE teachers, is going to be talking about that in a little bit, but that's also been really valuable because you need those norms so that we all have rules to kind of play by. Communication styles, fostering resilience. I think we've talked about that a lot today, that the resilience is low right now. We're working to build that back up. Those communication styles, not everyone communicates the same way. I think that those both feed really nicely into critical thinking and being able to attack problems with different mindsets, different people coming together to work through things. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Miss Williams, one of our very talented PE teachers here at Rogers Park.
Thanks, Tom. So I'm going to be talking about establishing norms, and establishing norms usually happens in the beginning of the process. It is a collaborative process, so the entire group gets together and they make decisions. So it's, as a PE teacher, as the counselor, as a social worker, and as the students, we all come together as a group and establish what we believe is important for the group, a set of guidelines for us to go by. Once we set these rules, it is non-negotiable and every member must follow it. That's why every member's input is a part of the decision. These are meant for everybody to have safety, both emotionally and physically. Everyone wants to be safe in this, through this journey, and we want everyone to feel respected and be able to share their opinions and feel like they are in a safe place. A quick thing that we do, we refer to these as a full value contract. And what we do is we have a simple 5-finger contract that we can go by. So, every time someone comes to the group, you have your hand with you. So you have a 5-finger contract. Thumb is for fun. Then we have the index finger, which is for responsibility. The middle finger is for respect. The ring finger is for commitment. And then your pinky is for safety. So kind of getting all of the basic, most important things. So if everyone's like, what should we be paying attention to? What should we be respecting? You have your 5-finger contract. But like I said, everybody is a part of this. So anybody that thinks that something is important, that we should make it a norm, that becomes the norm for the group. And we want to be open-minded. Every path can be different to get to the same goal. So we're really making sure that we are respectful of everybody's opinions and it's a safe place. In Project Adventure, we talk a lot about comfort zones. So we all live in our comfort zone. Everything we would choose to do, most likely would be in that comfort zone. So Project Adventure gets the students and even the staff thinking about moving out of that comfort zone. What happens? What are those zones? So you have your stretch zone where you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but you're still okay. And then you have your panic zone. And a lot of the activities that we make the students do, we refer to them as challenge by choice. So if kids are feeling like they're getting to that panic zone, they could say, hey, I need to take a step back. I'm not feeling comfortable right now. And they could take that step back, still offering the group, maybe they can help verbally, but not physically be a part of the challenge. But it's really about challenging them, making them go through those different comfort zones. And then afterwards, always breaking it down. There's always a debrief. There's always a part where we discuss it. So not only are they going through the comfort zones, but then they're able to, let's talk about those. So individually and as a group, you're talking about the challenges you're facing, how you're overcoming them, how you're completing these challenges, and how you're working together. So establishing the norms is really important because everybody is on the same page. Everybody knows what is expected of them. And now I'm going to turn it over to Karina Chelso, who will talk about critical thinking.
Thank you, Dana. So through Project Adventure, it's been amazing to see, just like Tom Farrell was mentioning, that a lot of our students in September, we actually started in early October, didn't know the names of their peers in their classroom. And since September, it's been amazing to see the progress that they've made with each other and how much they've come together and worked through these challenges together. And through Project Adventure, our students have the opportunity to develop and build on their critical thinking skills beyond, the traditional teaching. They are putting those skills into practice while they're in Project Adventure. They're persevering through challenging tasks that we give them. They're analyzing situations. They're problem solving, all through communicating and working with each other, while respecting each other's opinions, input as they work through these tasks. We typically have them start tasks or complete the beginning of the first challenge with communicating with each other. They're able to talk, they're able to communicate, they're able to come up with strategies and how they are able to accomplish the task. And then once they accomplish that task, we have them do it without communicating with each other. And at the end, we always have time to process how they felt, whether they were in their comfort zone, stretch zone, what was difficult, what was challenging, what was easy. And almost always, obviously, they say that not being able to communicate was very challenging and made it more difficult to accomplish the task or to complete the task. So it allows them to see and recognize that communicating with each other is an important, is extremely important when navigating through like real life social conflict that they're having with their peers. So they're having, they're seeing it, it's happening, they're seeing, when they're communicating and talking through problems and analyzing what is the issue, identifying the problem becomes easier to tackle versus not communicating and not being able to work through the problem. So I will turn it over to Justin Fosher, one of our PE teachers.
Thank you, Ms. Chelsea. I'm going to speak briefly on the training that we underwent last spring and kind of how it relates to how we have transitioned our program in with the students. Last spring, we went through a 2-day, unfortunately, we had very nice weather, 2-day training with a project adventure professional named Ian. And he kind of laid the groundwork for how we should attack and approach our rollout of this project adventure mindset with the students. Some main focuses for some of the main focal points of his presentation were the ideas of establishing, again, the norms that we talked about. We went through the process of forming, storming, and norming through our training, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in a moment. And then really focusing on the challenge by choice. So what the forming, storming, and norming was, like Mr. Farrell mentioned at the beginning, our activities started out just getting the basic, getting to know you, names, familiarizing yourself with people in the group, and kind of forming our group and getting to know each other and what we were working with. Through several of the challenges, we went through the storming phase. This is where the problem solving, maybe some of the disagreements that we see with our students, but also through our training would occur. And then we would revisit the norming stage. So after we had established the norms, we would revisit them after the forming, storming, and norming and kind of work through what the problems were, go through that problem solving and critical thinking element, and then progress on to either another attempt at the task or the challenge or to the next challenge or task. The challenge by choice was also mentioned. This was a very pivotal point with the project adventure. It relates to the choice to participate in a challenge. At times, the students do have the option to kind of take a turn out and watch from the side and then choose to join in later on. But also within certain tasks, they are given the choice to take different roles throughout the challenge. They could be an advisory role, maybe someone who is talking or problem solving from the outside while other people are doing the physical elements, but they have the choice in what aspect they want to participate throughout the challenge. And this can change from point to point within any specific task or challenge. Ian also worked us through a progression that started with very simple, as Mr. Farrell again mentioned, name games, getting to know you activities, to things that were a little more high risk, a little more high intensity. The stakes were raised and safety became a little bit more of a priority. So some of the things that we started out with were a game called Bump, Bumpity, Bump, 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 which that in itself was a challenge for some of our trainees. We then progressed to activities like yurt circles, and then we went to higher challenge activities such as the King's Finger, A-frame, an activity called Islands, and an activity called the Whale Watch. All, as I said, got progressively more intense and more high risk, but safety and making sure that everyone was comfortable was the main priority. That from there, once we did our training, we have tried to instill a lot of the things that we were trained, or all of the things we were trained to do in with our students. And a big thing has been the briefing process, again, revisiting the norms after we have had that storming process. And then we have an example here of some of our, we had an example of some.
I'm recognizing that the time is getting long, and
Okay.
I'm being respectful to the last group. So thank you, guys. Some of these are just some of the positive outcomes that have been spoken about by the teachers, and some of the things that we've been working on with a large contingency of students and large classes is the sizing, this class sizes, the scheduling with many crises coming up, and also the increase in SEL issues. We are planning to continue it for next year, and we're looking ways to address the scheduling. So thank you so much, and I'm sorry for us going over time. We get really excited about our stuff and love to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you folks from Rogers Park Middle School in Danbury. A terrific presentation, great information, and what an exciting program for your students and for your school. And I know your passion and excitement about sharing is contagious, and I encourage anybody listening who wants more information to reach out to Rogers Park, Dr. Christy Zaletta, principal, and to find out more about this terrific program. So thank you all.